Welcome back. Welcome back. I know we were back yesterday, but welcome back. You know, we had a long week off. I'm hoping that you had a good time, that you got some rest and took care of some things that you wanted to during that break. But welcome back. We got a little campaign, I guess you say, we got going. We really want y'all to be as focused as possible this month. We want you to start off this month going in the right direction. Okay, so we had this campaign. We had you come in yesterday, had the food for you, different things like that. I really want you to be excited about what's going on here at Brown Mackie College. But today, what we did is we invited an amazing person in here today to speak to you about his amazing story. Okay, he has a unique story that not many of us have went through. I could definitely say I haven't. That story is, you know, he was at a point in his life where he was in a near-death situation. He was at a point where the doctors were telling him he had one week to live. Okay, I know I've never been in that situation. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you have been in that situation, but to me, that's the lowest of low right there. To be able to come back from a situation like that and to live the life that he's living at this point is amazing. Okay, really excited for y'all to be able to hear his story. What he does now, what he does is he coaches people around the world, putting together strategies so that they can live life to the fullest, okay, and to be able to maximize their potential while they're here on earth, okay? That's what his sole purpose is to help people maximize their potential, okay? Really want you to hear everything he has to say. He has a lot of things that he's going to tell you today that you can apply directly to your life today to help you in that path to get where you want to get to, okay? One thing, every one of you got a sheet in front of you, okay? That's a consent form. We're going to videotape this. This is just releases that you're okay, that if your back of your head ended up on the camera, then you're okay with it, okay? Some of y'all got your hair done just in case, so you're good. But that's just a consent, so sign that, fill it out. Like I said, we'll be videotaping this event for Jerome, okay? What I want y'all to do, okay, I want y'all to help me welcome an amazing speaker, okay, an amazing life strategist, okay? I want y'all to help me welcome Jerome Braggs.
First, I want to start out by saying thank you for having me here today, for having me in your space, for opening your hearts to what I'm about to say, for opening your spirits for what I'm about to pour into it. You know, I want to say thank you because I look at you, even though we haven't met before one-on-one, as my family. Because I get it. I get that place where you are right now. You all are here in this seat because you made a decision that your dreams can't wait any longer. And I want to celebrate that with you. Those are the type of people I like to surround myself with. Those are the type of people that I call my family. So I speak all over the world, as he said, about, you know, maximizing your potential, living your best life, you know, empowering yourselves. But what breathes life into my soul is when I get to speak to people like you, really. Those people who have dreams and are taking steps towards their dreams. So I want to thank you first for giving me a bit of your time today. And I have a saying and a belief that if someone gives me their time, I give them time back on their lives. So today, I'm going to give you something that will give you time back on your life. I'm going to stand here today and tell you a little bit about my story. And my hope is that I am transparent enough that you can see through me right into your own life. That there is something that I say today that speaks to your own life so that you upgrade it. That those dreams that you're sitting in these chairs today to achieve, that something I give you helps you do that. So I want to first start by saying be open, because there's no coincidence that you're in here today. Some people aren't here today. There's some of your classmates that aren't here today because they weren't the ones to get this message. You are. There are some people who will never see me. They will never get this message. They will only see you. And they will see the growth and the person that you become based upon what you hear today. And that new person will affect them. So I want you to know how big it is that you're here today. Make no mistake, it is a big thing. Not just because of what is going to happen for your life, but because of the effect that you're going to put into other people's life just because of who you get to become after this. So, we're going to be open. I'm going to be transparent, and we're both going to rise together. And I want to first start by telling you about, Sydney opened up a little bit about telling you that I've had a breakthrough in my life. I've had a major breakthrough that has allowed me to live the life I live today. But that breakthrough was not possible without the breakdown. And I want to talk to you first about the breakdown. And that breakdown started January 1st of 2004. You see, just a few weeks before that, I was living in Washington, D.C., and I was working at an organization where I was a counselor for men and women with HIV and AIDS. And although it was a great job, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I had bigger dreams for myself than that particular job. I wanted to be, at the time, I wanted to be a famous singer, I wanted to be a famous actor, and I was just settling for that particular space. Until what happened was at the end of that year, I took that job in 2003. At the end of that year, I started to get sick. Flu-like symptoms, really. Weakness, nausea, just dizziness, and I didn't feel like going to work. So I was out of work for about 3 weeks. Until until New Year's Eve came, and I'm a big New Year's Eve person. I like to party. But I couldn't go anywhere. This was the first New Year's Eve in my life where I was sick, and I could not participate. And so I called my mom, who's a doctor, and she was living in Oklahoma at the time, and I asked her, can you call me in something? Please, hurry, so that I can get better, because at least I want to go back to work after New Year's. So she asked me a little bit about what was happening with me, and then she told me 2 things. One, I can't call you anything in from out of state. That's illegal, so I can't do that for you. And then 2, you've been having these symptoms for a long time, so you need to be seen by somebody. You really need to get that checked out instead of trying to do that on your own. So, I picked up the phone, I called my friends, and mind you, this is New Year's Eve, and I asked them, can you please come and take me to the emergency room so I can get checked out? Well, they said, yeah, but, give me about 3 to 4 hours, because they want to party. So, after they got through with their celebrations, their parties, they came and picked me up and they took me to the hospital. And the doctor and I in the emergency room were having a conversation, as, the normal conversation goes, about, what's happening with you, what's going on, how long have you had these symptoms, and he decided he needs to run some blood tests. So he runs some blood tests, and a very interesting thing happened after he ran the blood test. When he came back into the room that I was in the hospital, he brought his friends. And there were a team of doctors that kind of circled my room like this. And they all stood around my bed, and they did something very interesting. They handed me the telephone. And I looked at it for a second, and I was like, okay, and they said, you have a call. And I picked up the phone, and it was my mom. And something very interesting was happening on the other end of the line that I had never experienced with my mother before. She was crying. She was sobbing, actually. And she said, I'll be there in the morning, and she hung up the phone. And I knew then that what I must have been experiencing was a little more than the flu. Because my mother was my rock. She was my security, especially around illness. It was always, boy, just get in that room and go to bed. You'll be better in the morning. Or take this pill. You'll be okay. Stop crying. Something like that. It was always solid rock mom. But mom was breaking down. And so I hung up the phone and I looked around the room at the faces of all the doctors. And I asked, what are you about to tell me? And they got closer. And the head doctor said to me, son, you have about 7 days to live. You're being diagnosed with kidney failure, pneumonia, pancreatitis, a severe case of anemia, 20 pounds overload of fluid on your body, a fluid-packed lung, and just in case that situation wasn't delicious enough for me, a parasite in my stomach. And they said that situation had progressed to a point that they did not feel like anything that they could do for me was going to help. So they told me to get my affairs in order, that I had about a week. And then they left the room. And something happens when doctors leave you in a room by yourself after they tell you you're dying. You come face to face with 3 questions. And these 3 questions are, did I live enough? Did I love enough? And did my life really matter? Well, the first question was no. I hadn't lived enough. Not only was I young, I was 23 at that time, but I lived a life of not fulfilling my dreams. I always said to myself, not now, not yet, and not me. But now I didn't have any more time. And I didn't love enough because I didn't know how to fully express the love in my heart to other people, let alone to myself. You know, I didn't love how I looked in the mirror. I thought some parts of me were too fat. I thought I wasn't, successful enough in some areas. I didn't love who I saw when I looked at myself in the mirror. And then the last question was, was my life really going to matter? And I said no. I didn't feel like I was living my purpose. I didn't feel like I was fully going to leave the world a better place than what I found it when I left. So I was faced with this conundrum. Here I am in my hospital bed with 7 days left in my life, supposedly, and I was going to leave life this way. Now, I was not actually scared of death. I had a very different perspective about what death is and what it means to me. But I was horrified of dying like that because I realized that this was the life that I had been given, and I was not living it to the fullest of my capacity. That I was going to leave it with still music inside of it that was not played in the experience when I was living it. So I made a decision right there and then that I wasn't going to die. Because I wanted to be able to say hell yes to those questions the next time I saw them. I did not want to live a life where I said no to all three questions. So I made a very big decision that I was going to survive. Now, I was a student already of the mind-body-spirit connection. I believed that we could heal anything. I believed that anything was possible if you believed in it enough and all that great stuff. So, law of attraction and all those things we've been hearing about more and more and more today. I believed in all of that. So, but I've been using that stuff, to get like $5 when I was broke to get me some Chinese food before, or when I was running late to the movies, I wanted to get a parking space in front of the mall. Small stuff like that. So, if this was really real, if we could really live what we wanted to live and do the things we wanted to do, it had to be real for me right then and there. And so I made a decision that I was going to just throw everything that I knew about it. Everything that I had read in the books, everything I had heard, I was just going to throw the whole kitchen sink at it. And I did. I did the visualizations. I did the affirmations. I did the positivity. I did, all those great things. And a month later, I walked out of the hospital, and I was in the hospital for an entire month. 2 months after that, I was fully recovered. And life was great for me. It was great. I was awesome. I was happy, excited, until it wasn't. And it wasn't just a year and a half later that I found myself back in that same hospital bed with the exact same team of doctors with the exact same diagnosis. And this time, instead of 7 days, I had 48 hours. And when they left my room this time, my mother crying on the phone again, flying up to Washington, D.C. from Oklahoma City, I had a conversation with myself. And that conversation was, how did I get here? And what do I really need to do this time to change? And so what came forth within me was first that I had learned, like the quintessential college student had learned, and I'm talking to a lot of you all here, so a lot of that is going to resonate right in your heart, where you cram for your exam the night before just to pass the test, but the information doesn't transform you. It doesn't make you become a new person. And I knew that in order for me to not only survive this time, but to really live, I had to become a new person. And then the second thing was, I needed to know fully the truth about how we make real, lasting change and dreams and come true in our lives. And so I went on a journey, and I made a commitment that I was going to learn, not just quickly this time, but I was going to learn fully. So that when I learned, I became a new person, that I would never see that situation again, and that my life will be an example to others about how they can do the same. And that took me about 7 years. I was on dialysis for 7 years before my body fully recovered again, before I became healthy, and before I stepped into not just surviving, but thriving. And so what I wanted to do today was share with you the major thing, the one major thing I learned along that journey that saved my life. Not just my body, but my dreams. That saved my life so that I could love more, that I can achieve the dreams, that I can stand here and pour into people like you, and that I can say hell yes to the fact that I'm living enough, loving enough, and my life is mattering today. So the number one thing that saved my life was I had a vision. Vision will save you. What do I mean by vision? I mean that when the darkest moments, when those doctors were around me, poking me, prodding me, telling me other things, telling me I wasn't going to make it, telling me that even if I made it, I would be on dialysis for the rest of my life, that I would have pancreatitis for the rest of my life. The thing that saved me was I had a different vision for myself. And that vision was I wanted to be whole so that I could live my dreams. Because my dreams depended on me being healthy. I couldn't stand up here today and speak to you all and pour into your life if I had to be on a dialysis machine. I would be too tired. I don't know if any of y'all have been on dialysis. Hopefully you have not. But dialysis makes you very tired afterwards. You have no energy. You have to sleep. I had to sleep after dialysis for 6 hours, every treatment. Every treatment. And I went Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for 4 hours each time. So if you look at that, that's 10 hours out of my day. Dialysis, 4 hours, sleep, 6 hours. I didn't have any other time. And I knew the vision that I had for my life, the dreams that I wanted to live, required that I needed that 10 hours for that. So I had no other choice in my vision but to be well. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel. I wanted to experience things. I wanted to go on a cruise. I hadn't been on a cruise yet. I wanted to go on a cruise to another part of the world. That was part of my vision. So vision will save you. And not only will it save you, it will pull you. You see, I teach that vision will pull you to your dreams. It is enough in the beginning just to have a clear vision of what you want your life to look like. Because that vision will pull you. And if it doesn't pull you, if you're not being pulled by a vision, you're being pushed by something. And the thing that is pushing you is pain. You see, pain's entire purpose in your life is to push you until you realize you need to create a better vision for yourself. So create a vision because your vision will pull you. What did I want my life to look like? And I did not create my vision based upon what anybody else was telling me. My vision came from what was in here. You see, one interesting thing about my situation was nobody in my circle believed in my vision. Nobody else saw it. They didn't see that it was possible. Although my mother and my father wanted me to be well, they wanted me to be well. They wanted me to get out of that situation. My mother's a doctor. And everything in her experience told her that her son was either going to die or he was going to be on dialysis for the rest of his life. So she didn't see it. My father didn't see it because he was one with my mother. The doctors didn't see it. My friends didn't see it. But here's something that I want to tell you. It doesn't matter who else sees your vision. It's enough that you see it. I saw it. No matter what anybody else was talking to me about, I kept it in my head. I kept my vision right here, and I nourished it every day. So the first step is to create your vision. What is the vision you have right here, right now, right as you are for your life? Not what your parents have for you, not what your sister and brother has for you, not what your lovers have for you, what you have for you. What is the vision that you want to step into? Your vision does not have to be based on your history. It is based on your desire. What is the vision for your life? What do you want your life to be in your tomorrows? And then after you have created that vision, the next thing you have to do is you have to believe in that vision. You know, I told you that one of the things that was hard for me was nobody in my life believed in my vision. My mother didn't believe it. My father didn't believe it. The doctors didn't believe in my vision. I had to believe it, and I had to find ways to believe in myself. You know what? What I found out is it does not matter if nobody else believes in your vision. If you're the only one that believes in your vision, what that means is God gave you that vision because you are the only one that is going to bring that to fruition in the world. That's how important that is. If nobody else believes in your vision, it means that it is you. It has been deposited into you by life, by God, by you, so that it is brought into the world to glorify your life and the life of those who will see you. I get to give permission to people today to live their dreams because I got to live mine when nobody else believed in it. It is enough for you to believe in it, but you've got to believe. And you've got to believe that it's possible for you, even if you don't know how it's going to be possible for you. The way may not be clear, but it's enough for you to know that it's going to happen. Believe that it's going to happen even if you can't see the way. Because here's the funny thing about life. Life cannot give you a vision without also providing you the way to manifest that vision in your life. It cannot happen. If you have a vision, if you have a dream in your life right now, sitting here in these chairs, know that the way to make that happen is going to be provided for you. You know, as I helped my vision, day to day, things came up. I learned about how to eat differently. I learned about different and alternative ways to treat my body. I learned day to day how to do the thing that I wanted to do. You see, I talked about your vision will pull you. Your vision will pull you to the people, places, and things that will help you achieve your vision. Every day. You know, it was almost like little miracles happened as I held on to my vision. Now, mind you, I told you it's enough to believe. So no matter what's being said on the outside, you have to hold that vision. There were times when the doctors were around me. One time in particular, I went to my lead doctor. She was a nephrologist, which means she deals specifically with kidneys. So she was talking to me, and we had this conversation, and I asked her, you know, how long do you think it will take for me to get better? How long do you think it's going to take for this? And she laughed, she rolled her head back like this, and she just laughed and laughed and laughed. And she looked at me, she says, you're not going to get better from this. Nobody gets better from this. I'm sorry. And I knew right then and there, in that very moment, that was the last time I could listen to her. Right there and then, that was the last time that whenever she came into my room to speak to me in that hospital room, or whenever I went to her office to talk to her and to talk to her about how I was doing, that whatever she was going to tell me, I couldn't hear it. And so I developed something. I developed what I like to call the deer in the headlight syndrome. So she would be talking to me, and she would have my paperwork, and she'd be looking at me, and she'd say, you know, yes, your count is going down, and it looks like things are actually getting worse, and blah, 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 blah. So talk to me. And I'd be like, okay. But in here, what was going on is, okay, what needs to happen next? What do I need to do? How can I make this better? What's the next thing I can do to make this better? What's the next step? I didn't hear anything she said. I was just, okay. You have to control your belief by continuing to positively affirm it, no matter what's happening on the outside. Your vision needs you to believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, it will not happen. It will not happen if you don't believe in it. Now, here's something else. You know, sometimes, and why it took me 7 years, but sometimes, you know, the way wasn't always easy for me. Sometimes there were days where it was hard for me to believe in it. Sometimes I didn't have enough belief. But I'm going to tell you something. If you don't have enough belief, borrow somebody else's. Find somewhere that speaks into the possibility of where you're trying to go. You know, I bought CDs that told me that my dreams were possible for me. I went to the bookstore and I read books that told me that what was possible for me. Even if nobody was going through exactly what I was going through, I read things from people who made it, who broke through, so that I could believe it was possible for me. I had to borrow some of their belief to assure some of mine. So no matter where you are, if your belief isn't strong enough, you need to borrow somebody else's. You need to begin to read inspirational and educational books that say you can do it and how you can do it. You need to surround yourself with people who speak life into your direction. If you have a circle today that's not supporting your dreams and your visions, it's time for a new circle. Okay? It's time to get some new people. Everybody that's in your life today doesn't need to be there. Because everybody that's in your life isn't lifting you higher. Okay? So the first thing, like I said, was create the vision. You have to have a strong vision of where you're wanting to go. And then you need to believe in it, an unwavering belief, so that no matter what chatter you hear on the outside of your life, it does not affect you. You know, you create that bubble around you. I had created a space. It was a space, and everybody in my life understood that when you came into this space, your words were, you can, you will, you are. You can, you will, and you are. You can heal, you will heal, and you are healing. If they came into this vicinity of my space, that's the only words they could speak. My parents today tell this story of when they came to the hospital the first and second times, when they flew up from Oklahoma City to D.C., and they were sitting around my bed, and they began to cry, and they began to say, oh my God, I don't know how you're going to get through this. They remember their son in the midst of his pain with the oxygen mask, leaning over to them and saying, you need to back up if you're going to say that. You need to back up if you're going to be in my space and not support the direction I'm trying to go. That made all the difference. And they were so impressed by that they held the space for me. When I was in the hospital and I couldn't speak, and the times when I was in pain or I was tired after my dialysis treatment, when people and friends and things came to visit me and they started crying, they said, oh my God, what's going to happen to him? They pushed them out of my space and said, when you relax, you can come back in the room. And they would talk to them outside the room about how they can speak to me in my space. What is your space? What space are you going to create for yourself? How are you going to hold that space? Your beliefs need to be protected. And the only person that's going to protect them is you. So how are you going to hold the space so that your beliefs feed your dream and your dream comes to reality? And then the last portion of that was you have to nurture your vision. You have to nurture your vision. So the first step in nurturing a vision that I had to do was I had to have a plan. Let me tell you something. I didn't just wake up one morning and everything was better. I would have loved it if that was the case. I would have loved it if they diagnosed me, and then the next morning I woke up and I was like, wait a minute. I feel fantastic. See ya. I would have loved it if that was the case. But it didn't happen like that. I had to have a plan. And I had to work my plan. I had to nourish it. Because let me tell you something. If you're not nourishing your dreams, you're depleting them. There's only two things you can do for them. You're either nourishing something or you're depleting it. Because let me tell you something. That desire, that vision is a living thing. And living things need nourishment to survive and to grow. So you've got to nourish your dream. I had to nourish it with a plan. I had a plan. I knew I was going to eat certain things. I knew I needed to rest early. I knew I needed to do some things outside of what I knew before, because I told you I had it the second time. So what worked the first time didn't work the second time. I had to do something different. I had to become somebody different. So I had to have a plan on how to do that. You know, there was meditation, there was, affirmations, there was all of that, but there was a plan, a strategic action plan that I had to put into place. So in order to have your vision come into place, you have to nurture it first with the plan. What is the plan that you're going to do? If you have dreams today, you need to go home tonight, you need to take a piece of paper, and you need to list out what are the action steps I'm going to take today to get here. What are the things I can do, and what do I need help in? Because let me tell you something, I couldn't do it all on my own. I could not. There were times I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the energy. And sometimes I didn't have the willpower. Because let me tell you something, Jerome loves pizza. Okay? He loves him some pizza with some greasy cheese and all the toppings they can put on it. But I knew that wasn't what my body needed at the moment. My body needed something different. And so I needed help. I needed the help of those people around me so that when I wanted that pizza, or they caught me trying to order that pizza, they said, no, he'll have a salad and the steamed vegetables and a lean protein. Okay? So sometimes it's okay to get help. You can't always do things on your own. And that leads me to the next portion of nurturing your vision. You have to get people around you who are going to lift you higher and support you in your direction. I spoke before about everybody that's in your life doesn't need to be there. Okay? Because everybody in your life is not supporting you. Everybody in your life does not see the vision is not going to speak to it. One of the things that I learned along my journey is the 5 closest friends that you have determine where you're going to be. Hello. Did I say that? I said that. The 5 closest people that you have to you today, the average of their lives is your life. Hello? Some of you in here want big dreams. You want to make more money. You want careers. You want great relationships. You want a great life. Are the people in your Fave 5 living that? Are they going there? Are they speaking life into you going there? If they're not, you need to rise higher and get around people who will do that for you. I had to do that. Like I told you, I couldn't let my parents not be there. You know, I'm their only son, so that wasn't going to be a conversation we were going to have. But what was going to happen was they had to get on speed with me. They had to get on speed with me. So I told them, you may not believe that I'm going to achieve this, but you're going to act like it when you're in my space.
That's right.
You may not believe that, but you're going to act like it when you're in my space. And the friends who didn't believe it, we had a phone conversation, and I said, I'll see you when it happens. Until then, we have nothing to talk about. And I got around those people who said, Jerome, you can do this. Jerome, you will do this. Keep going. Don't stop. Look at the things that I've done. You can do them too. The people that lifted me higher. Because the people aren't pulling you up, they're pulling you down. Okay? So, get that vision, believe in it, and nurture it with a plan and surrounding yourself with people who feed into you and don't take out of you. Because when you have a vision and you do these things, you will not only survive, but you will thrive. This will save your life and save your dreams so that you walk yourself into them. You're able to see me standing here today with a smile on my face, living my passion, standing in my dreams, having the types of connections and relationships that I love, and having the type of effect in the world that I dreamed about because of my vision. It pulled me right here in this spot today with you. Where's your vision going to pull you? Where are you going to be next year when I see you? When I see you next year, running into you in the grocery store, in the movies, getting some pizza like I like to do, where will I see you? And I say, hey, and you say, hey, I remember you spoke to me. What will your life be like because of the vision that you created today? How will it have come to fruition because of the fact that you believed in it and you surrounded yourself with the people who did? And I'm going to let you in a little secret. Life is waiting for you to live that vision. That vision was given to you because life wants it to be brought through you into the world. Nobody else can do it. One of the biggest things I realized when I was on my deathbed and I looked at those dreams, my dreams talked to me. And they said, we came to you. We were given to you and only you. And only you could have given us to the world. And if you die today, we'll have to die with you. Don't let your dreams die, ladies and gentlemen, because the world needs them. Because there are going to be people who will never see me. They'll never hear me, but they'll see you. And they'll hear you. And your life will be a testimony and a permission slip to them that they can do the same. That they too can make it. That they too can start with nothing and gain everything. Are you willing to take that responsibility to live your dreams for your life and for the life of everybody else who will see you? That is how important you are to the world, and that is why I'm here to speak to you, to live your vision. I stand here today, a healthy man, Jerome Braggs, who is living enough, he is loving enough, and his life matters. And I can say, hell yes, the next time I see those 3 questions. How about you? Thank you for your time.
Jerome wants to open it up for some questions and answers. I'm sure, like I said, I've never been in a deathbed before. Some of y'all may have some questions about it, whatever it may be. Jerome is ready and willing to answer anything that you want to ask him. So I saw a lot of people taking notes. It's great. I saw you taking great notes. Good job. He definitely gave you some applicable things. If you got any questions, go ahead and open it up. About it, yes.
I just want to know, I'm sorry. I just want to know, like, I know you said that you were, like, not going to die or whatever the case may be. What was your turning point? Like, what was the very direct thoughts that you were thinking that I'm you know, instead of just, I'm not going to die, like, I'm pretty sure more going on, like.
Well, the first time, like I told you, was I didn't want to die. I just did not want to die. I wanted to live. I wasn't ready to die. I was 23 years old. The second time, the decision I had was, and why it took me so long was, going back to that vision. I had a vision of what my life what I wanted to live, and I was not willing to let that go. I was not willing to not live that, not experience that first before I died. I just was not. You know, I talk about understand in your vision why you want it, because your why power is stronger than your willpower. You know, why do you want that? I wanted that not only because I want to see the world, but because I knew intrinsically, at my soul level, that I wanted to help people live their dreams. I've always wanted that, even since I was a kid. And if I died, I wasn't going to be able to do that. And not only if I died, but if I didn't get it together, you know, take my life from pain and drama over to the other side, then I wasn't going to be able to do that. So that pulled me. It pulled me, and it made me do the things, and it led me to the things that will let me stand here today. So the first thing was I just wanted to survive. The second thing was I wanted to live. There's a difference between living and surviving. So I wanted to live this time, and I wanted to make sure that I lived enough that my life was an example to those who saw me, that they got permission to also live. So that was why. Yes?
Where have you been since? Once you got healthy, where all have you been? What have you done?
Well, one, I founded my company, which is the Prosperous Life Academy, which allows me to do things like this. I've spoken Dominican Republic, in Mexico, all over the United States. I travel a lot. I've connected with some of the top people in my field, like Jack Canfield and I talk regularly, who's the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Lisa Nichols, who was in The Secret and best-selling author of No Matter What, we talk. Also, I've connected with people, have some big things coming out later. But the things that I dreamed about then, I'm starting to live today.
So do you have like a bucket list, like things like you're absolutely going to do before?
Absolutely, and I encourage something. I'll give you a little tidbit for everybody here today. Anybody who comes to me to work with me, we work on a bucket list. And I encourage them to write 100 things down that they want to experience before they die. 100 things. They don't have to be major. They could be, you know, I want to eat at this best pizza shop in New York. Or I want to see the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Or I want to be in a size, you know, for me, I was like, I want to have a six-pack again before I know. So, you know, it's those things. Just write down 100 things that you want, because this is creating a vision again. Having it down on paper really solidifies the vision. So write out those 100 things, and as those things come, like almost monthly, I would even say it's almost as often as weekly, but sometimes monthly, I get to check things off on that vision list, my 100 vision list. I'm checking things off. There are things that I've already done. So write that out. You know, get that vision list, 100 things you want to experience in your life before you die, and keep it there.
Once you do those things, you add something else to the list.
I will not add anything else to the list until I've completed the list. Now, if I have something new, let me go back, because that's not actually completely accurate. I keep the original list in its original form, and then I form another one. So if I have these things I'm completing, I'll still just keep it, because there's something that speaks to you, and there's a power that happens when you complete something. If you keep adding to it, it's the energy of this is not complete. So complete that list, but you can start another one over here. Yeah. Yes?
With so many options and avenues out there, how were you able to identify your vision? how did you know what you wanted exactly, what you wanted to do with your life?
Okay, so there's two things. I say identify those things that speak to you, that you continually think about, that you can't give up. Like they're not going to rest. They're going to continue to be in your life, continue to talk to you. But then also, identify what you don't want. Sometimes identifying what you don't want helps you know what you do want. I knew I didn't want to be sick, and I knew I didn't want to have this catheter that was in my chest all the way to my heart for the rest of my life because that wasn't sexy. That wasn't sexy for me. Okay, I couldn't be sexy and put on my muscle shirts or whatever I was going to wear to the club with this big catheter hanging out of my chest. That wasn't sexy for me. So I knew I did not want that. And so that led me to know that, being attractive, having a sexy life was important to me. That was part of my vision. So know what get those things that are intrinsic in your heart, your authentic things that will not let you rest, but also what don't you want? And that will help you know what you do want. Yes?
Hi, how you doing? I like the way you bring to us about the getting people surrounded by you that are positive
Yes.
and everything. If you could share with the students, when there are people in your life that's not positive, how do you release them? Like, take them off the phone, whatever.
Great
Okay.
question.
Go over some details on how they can release.
Yes. So, one of the things I do for me, and everything I teach people is something that I've done. I teach from the lessons I had to learn. So, one of the things that I do is I get out a piece of paper, and I write at the top of that piece of paper, what is my dream? What is the dream I'm trying to live? Like, what am I trying to get to? And then I list out the 5 closest people to me that I spend the most time with. They could be friends, they could be coworkers, they could be whatever. The 5 people that are in your life, well, really, they're your friends, the people you talk to the most. Then I look at very carefully, are these people going to help me get there? Are they going to help me get there? Are they supporting me there? If they're not, those people that, one of my mentors said, there are some people that you have in your life that are so negative that if you left them in a dark room for too long, they start to develop. So, if you have some of those people, this is not an easy thing to do, but it's necessary. It's necessary. You have a conversation with them, whether it's by phone, whether you need to send them a letter. I strongly believe in actually having a communication with people because people can misconstrue things that are on emails and things like that. But if that's the way you have to do it, that's the way you have to do it. That you relay that you have a dream that cannot wait, and that you are honored and you are thankful for the time that you spent with them, but you have to move on. It's not anything nasty. You don't have to say anything nasty. You're going to be honest. You are thankful for the lessons and the experiences that you all share, and you really appreciate them, but you cannot move to this with that. You cannot move for this with that. And then, I always, because I believe in really pouring into people, even if they're the negative people in my life, I give them, here are 3 things I really love about you. When I do this letter, or when I talk to them, here are 3 things I really love about you. And I know, too, that you're going to see your dreams through, and we'll meet on that side. So, yes.
On your venture, because I came near close to death, too.
Yes.
But I never heard you, not everybody believes in God, but on your spirituality, when you saw these visions, was this your inner spirit, or is this just something you think you could do on your own, or did God have any abstinence in having you to succeed? Because I know when I was on my deathbed, something told me inside of me that I was going to live. It wasn't a vision I saw. It was something I knew. And with God's help, I was able to persevere.
Well, here's the thing. I am, my spiritual journey, like I said, I had to make a commitment to go on an inner journey, which is my spiritual journey.
Yes.
But to tell you, and I spoke this before, that the desire you have in your heart, that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. The desire is placed in you because God, however you say that, spirit, intervening source, however you identify it, I'm not here to tell you what to identify. However you identify it, puts it in you so that you can do it. That's why I told you in the beginning, you can't have a desire in a dream that doesn't have a way provided for you to make it. It can't happen. That's it. So you have that connection. Your ability to see it is your work. That's the vision I'm talking about, is you seeing it. Because that can be provided all day long in here, but if you don't see it, it's not going anywhere. If you don't own it and say, I'm headed in that direction, you won't. Where it comes from initially, that's where it's coming from. But you have to own it personally and then run with that.
I got a question.
Yes.
Say like you are already working towards something positive, like, but it's not actually your dream. So would you, like, do you continue with that, then go on for your dream? Or do you just put that on hold and go towards your dream?
So here's the thing, when you're continuing on something, when you have a dream, but you're doing something else that's necessary first, or that you're engaged in first. You need to be very aware of what am I learning through this process. What am I learning? What is life teaching me, and what is this teaching me? Because when you come from that perspective, it gives you the fuel that helps you become a different person so that you're ready for that dream. Every experience you have in your life right now is here because it's trying to provide you with the tools that you need to become the person that's ready for the dream. Every experience you have. Every experience you have. Okay? So I could have fought those doctors hard, but I did not fight them. I knew that part of them was a lesson that I was learning. The lesson that I was learning about having a whole team of people that didn't believe in me was how to believe in something when nobody else does so that I could teach it later. I didn't know that then. I didn't know I was going to be teaching this later. But it provided me with that so I can stand here. I know that I know that I know that I know that I know what it takes when nobody else believes in you. And I got that because of experience that I would have rather had my mother and my father say, oh, yes, my son's going to heal. He's going to get this. Everybody, y'all need to be quiet. Doctors, get out of here. But I didn't have it like that. So when you don't have it the way yet that you wanted to have it, or you're doing something not in the way, you have to look for the lesson that you're learning, not push against it, and learn and become the person that's trying to get you to become so that that dream can become possible. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to thank you. And I think a lot of us in here needed to hear what you had to say today. I think you motivated all of us in our own way. And
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Well, before I close, I just want to ask a quick question on two things. I want to ask a question, and just a raise of show of hands, is how many of you in here would like to work with me one-on-one for 90 minutes on specifically on how to make your dream come possible? How many of you been here? Okay, great. So this is what we're going to do. It's what I have for you today. You got to put your name and your email address on this piece of paper that my assistant back here, Josh, on your iPad. Okay, well, however he's going to work that out. He's going to tell us here in a minute. You're going to put your name and your email address on here, and in just a few minutes, I'm going to pick one person who's going to work with me for free. Now, this is usually $500. People pay me $500 for this particular session. I'm giving this to you for free. I'm going to pick one person from that list, and you're going to get a free 90-minute session with me, and we're going to work with how not only the thoughts and beliefs like we've talking about today, what do you need to be thinking, what do you need to be believing, but the plan that you need to put in place so that you get from where you are right now to where you want to be. So that's all you have to do. Josh, in a quick few sentences or two, tell them what they have to do, because I don't know, because you're doing something different.
So what I've got is if you'd like